Hi, in this episode of Pilot Wife Paralegal Life, I will be talking about how to choose a flight school. You have the option between a Part 61 and a Part 141. A 141 is regulated by the FAA and it's a structured program. So there's a set curriculum that you have to go through. There's certain criteria that has to be met in a Part 141. Also, you have to understand that it is a very strenuous program. It is very difficult. It takes a lot of time and a lot of commitment and a lot of dedication on your part in order to do the Part 141 school. There is, like I said, a set curriculum. You have the classroom sections that you have to do. Typically, the school will have you there for classroom structured time. There are regular stage checks. So in, say, the instrument phase of flight school, you may have 4 stage checks that you have to pass in order to move on to the next stage of instrument training. And if you fail it, then you have to do some remedial training and then do another stage check. And you can't move on until you get past those stage checks. Also, certification does come at less hour requirements through the Part 141 simply because there are those stage checks to ensure that you are meeting the requirements at each stage that the FAA wants you to. Part 61 is more flexible. It's very much at the student's pace. It is controlled entirely by the student. You do still have ground school and classroom things that you have to do, but you're not necessarily in a classroom depending on the Part 61 school. You have to know the material in order to be able to take the written exams, and you have to know the material in order to pass those oral boards and everything. And also, you need more hours in order to reach those certifications because you don't have those regular checks to ensure that you're at the level that you're supposed to be. You must be certified by your CFI prior to the DPE FAA check ride that you go on. So find a school that meets the needs of you, the student, not necessarily by the name of the school. ATP is a nationally recognized school, but is still considered a Part 61. ATP, the actual school, ATP, does have school and curriculum and things that you're supposed to do. However, they don't have the stage checks. You have to be certified by your CFI to go on to the DPEs. And they do require you to pretty much be at the school Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, kind of a schedule versus other Part 61s that don't have that requirement to them. It really just depends on the school, but look into each school that you're wanting to go to and see whether they are Part 161 or Part 141 and what their requirements are for your attendance at the school. There are also college options. So if you go to an actual college, university, you also have a less hours requirement in order to actually get up to the airlines. So instead of 1,500 flight hours, then you only need, I believe it's 1,200 or 1,250, somewhere in there, to get to the airlines because you have gotten a degree in aviation that the college offers versus just getting the certifications to be a commercial pilot. Other things to consider when choosing a flight school. You want to look at reviews of both current and prior students. The current students may not be quite as honest about the school and the experience because they are going there, and instructors do develop personal biases against students and they do hold it against them. We have not experienced this with my husband and his flight training, but we do know other people who the instructor didn't like them, so they weren't passing them simply because they didn't like them. You can look at reviews of prior students, see if you can find any prior students or any reviews of prior students, and that might give you a more accurate portrayal of the school and how they treat students. so that you can make an informed decision on whether that school is good for you or not. You want to look at the location of the school and the commute that you would have if you were going to live at home and go to the school, if you have a flight school in your city or in your area. Especially if your flight school does not require you to be there Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, instead has, an hour of classroom on Monday and Tuesday and a 2-hour flight on Wednesday, nothing on Thursday, and another set of classroom, maybe with a flight on Friday. You just really need to look at what their schedule is and then see what your commute would be to the school and pick accordingly. If you're going to move to a city because you want to go to a specific flight school and you're going to move to the city, you're going to want to look at housing options. You're going to want to look at the area around the school, see if you can live near the school, and you're going to want to check the airport size if that is a factor. So if you're going to a flight school in a major city and it's kind of near the major airport or anywhere in that airspace, then you're going to be learning a higher amount of radio traffic and radio frequencies and that big airspace a lot faster than someone who's at a smaller airport or a smaller city and doesn't have that airspace traffic that bigger cities have. So it's something else to consider if it's something that you might be struggling with. And also the weather. You want to look at the weather in the city that either you're going to or that you live in and figure out if that impacts your flights, because flight schools are very strict on the kind of weather conditions that their students can fly in, A, because of the aircraft that they're flying, and B, because you're students. And so learning how to fly in very difficult weather is not something that happens because those little airplanes don't fly in difficult weather. So wind is a factor, and rain, cloud cover, that kind of thing. That's all factors. Snow, ice, those are all factors that go into whether you can fly or not. So if you're looking at a location more in the northern half of the United States, then you're going to run into issues in the winter. On the West Coast, Northwest Coast, you might run into issues with rain and clouds and that kind of thing. So it's something that you need to consider as well. The other thing is cost and tuition to go to the school. Flight school is expensive for the short amount of time that it is. Most flight schools you're done within a year of getting you're done within a year for your certifications. So it's very expensive for the time duration that it is. So you want to look at the cost and you want to look at the tuition. You want to look to see if they have the phases broken down by cost. So how much your private pilot would be, or if you already have a private pilot and you're doing a transition course because of that school, how much that transition course would cost, how much the instrument phase costs, how much the commercial phase costs. And then also, do they offer CFI? Do they offer CFII? Do they offer these other things that will allow you to progress and do more? Or are they strictly only private, instrument, commercial, and they don't offer those CFI, CFII options so that you can become an instructor for after you've graduated with your certifications and you need to time build to get up to that airline flight requirement that you need. There are loans available for flight school. They're hard though. They're not as easy to obtain as, say, a typical college loan. You can't just go online and get a federal student loan for flight school. You do have to find the loan programs that the school offers. So you want to look into what financial institutions work with them. We ran into an issue personally with the loan program that the school that my husband goes to, they're affiliated with, decided not to do student loans anymore for flight school. So all of a sudden we didn't have that option and the school didn't have that option. And so they had to scramble to find other institutions that would do student loans for flight school. And it's really hard to go on your own and get them because those institutions, if they're not affiliated with your school, won't give you loans. So it's a fine balance of figuring out what you can do in order to get a loan if you need it for flight school. The other option is scholarships. There are so many flight scholarships available. You just have to be able to find them and find the ones that work for you. I'm going to provide links to schools and scholarship affiliates in my comments. So check those out if you are starting to look into financing your flight career. The scholarships are generally in smaller increments. So, a typical college scholarship, you get so much per semester, but that's not how flight ones work. You get a set amount and it goes directly to your flight school, and that's that. So they're in smaller amounts, typically in the couple $100 range to a couple thousand. Maybe you'd be lucky to find a $20,000 scholarship. You're not going to find a scholarship that's going to finance your entire flight school. For scholarships, there's a multitude of options out there. Some examples would include RTAG, which is the Rotary to Airline Group. They are the largest military to aviation convention that there is, and that happens in October. This year it's in Dallas, first weekend in October. Go if you can. Otherwise, they have an annual convention that you can go to, and if you happen to be a scholarship recipient, you get that honor at the convention. The next one is IOPA or AOPA, the Airline Owner Pilot Association. They have over 30 scholarships available for people. The EAA, the Experimental Aviation Association, has a number of scholarships available as well for mostly first-time airline students between certain ages. Want to look into them. The 99s are for female-only pilots. So you have to be a female and you have to be a member of the 99s organization in order to apply for a scholarship, but it's something to look into. So if you're military and you're looking to transition into airlines, there are 3 options for you. There's the post 9/11 GI Bill that will give you payments, but at a reduced rate from what you would get if you went to a traditional college for flight school. However, if you do go to a college for flight school, then you may get that full benefit from the post 9/11 GI Bill. The second is the VR&E. You have to have a disability rating in order to apply for VR&E. However, if you have a head injury or mental health concerns, that will disqualify you from becoming a pilot. So make sure you have the correct disability ratings on your record in order to be able to apply for that, to be able to go to the airlines. Another one is SkillBridge, which gives you from active duty to civilian training. It will give you 6 months of training prior to your ETS. So those are things to consider as well when you're looking at flight schools. If you really want to maximize the amount of flight time that you have, see how many students they take in each opening for classes. Do they take in 20 students? Do they take in 4 students? Do they have quite a bit of instructors? Do they have quite a few planes? Ask people, the instructors or whoever you're talking to at the school, how many hours do your students typically fly in a week? Given, perfect weather conditions and everything else, how often are students flying at the school? If they say, well, maybe they get 5 hours a week, that's not a great ratio of fly time. If they do more, then you can get your hours and your certifications a lot faster through the school. Talk to the scheduler if you can. See what kind of schedule they have. Is it a Monday through Friday 8 to 5 schedule, or is it we do classroom and flights alternating days each week so that we can ensure that your classroom time and your flight time are good, and that you can be a part-time student here without needing to quit your job entirely if you can, or that it is basically a full-time commitment and you can't do anything outside of it. You want to see the safety record of the school if you can. As well as the maintenance. Do they have their own maintenance person, or do they have to contract out for maintenance so then the planes are down longer? Is there a high quick turnaround on getting the planes back to working order if they have a mechanical or other issue that puts them down? Because downed planes means no flying in that plane, and if they've got 3 downed planes out of a fleet of 6, well, that's half the fleet. So that's becomes an issue for getting your hours also. You want to maybe tour the facility if possible, see what it looks like, see the day-to-day operations, the day-to-day life there, talk to any students that you can while you're there, or the instructors while you're there, and really see how the school operates. talk to the instructors, look at that day-to-day life, like I said. This is a major decision. It's not like choosing just a university. Flight school is incredibly expensive, and the money that you put into a flight school is not going to transfer to another flight school. And if you decide to transfer to another flight school, then you may have to redo portions of the training that you've already done, depending on when you transfer, if you decide to do that because the school is just not working out for you. Choosing a flight school is absolutely crucial to your personal wants, needs, and how you feel you are best as a student. If you feel that you are best in a structured curriculum and you really need that, then a Part 141 is probably the way you want to go. If you are feeling that you need more flexibility and more control and more decision making in yours, then a Part 61 is probably how you want to go. If you are young and you want that college degree, choose a college program that works for you, because the loan options might be different at a college university with a flight program than just a straight flight school. Those I don't know about since we did not do a college or university program. We went to a specific flight school. So I can't speak to loan options regarding that. It's just something that you would want to look into for yourself as well. The school website's going to have that information for you. Comment below if you have specific content that you would like me to cover on my channel. Otherwise, like and subscribe if you would like to see more content like this. Till next time.